Hello, fellow Goodies fan, and welcome to another Goodies podcast video in the Goodies Gear series. And this time, as you can see, we're looking at Bill Oddie's tour of Australia from 2013, which was organised by a chap called Justin Karcher, who runs a business called the K Faktor, and they get out sports stars and organise speaking tours and all these sorts of things. But what Justin did with Bill in 2013, I think, went above and beyond his usual fare, and all the Goodies fans in Australia were pretty bloody pleased that it took place, let me tell you. Now, there's not a lot of gear to speak of. I mean, here you can see we've got a ticket, which I'll give you a bit of a close-up of, and we've got the 2013 Australian Tour official program, of course, which I'll open up in a moment, and obviously you've seen the 2013 Australian Tour live show DVD, which I believe you could buy on the night of the gig. There were 5 gigs around Australia in June 2013. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then get the DVD delivered to you later on. That must be how it worked. I don't honestly remember. It was a whirlwind of activity back in the day. So, having seen the ticket and the DVD, let's get into the tour program, because this is about the gear, and then I'll get into a little bit of a story behind that later on. So, centering. Right, now the inside of this program is beautifully simple and contains some very nice drawings of Bill recreating classic episodes and outfits he wore in the Goodies, and a sherbet fountain and a tomato squeezer and everything. It just tells you session 1 before the interval, what Bill was talking about, and then session 2 with audience questions, which was fantastic. Well, was it the Perth gig? I can't speak for the other 4 capital cities, but there you go. So yes, nice and simple, gives you a bit of a biography of Bill. And on the back, the tour dates. I wonder if I can get that up there without losing focus. Nope. But you'll see there were 5 gigs. They had Brisbane, then Sydney, then Melbourne, then Adelaide, then Perth, and the various venues. And a beautiful drawing of the Super Chaps 3 here, and a bit of a plug for K Faktor down the bottom. I think that website is still active, of course. I'm sure Justin's still doing all his speaking tours and things with sports stars of Australia. Okay. So these are items. And as I said, there's not too many. Here's the DVD cover. But as I was hinting about before, when you buy these things at a gig, it's a memento of where you were and what you were doing and enjoying going along to see Bill at the time. But for me, and Jane as well, in the podcast, it was a little bit more than that, because we got to be involved a little bit behind the scenes, because Justin needed help around Australia with promo. And so he contacted us via the podcast and said, hey, you're out there in one of the capital cities, so can you give us a hand with a few little promotional things? Now, we were very happy to do so. And the first thing we had to do, because they'd organised, and this is genius from Justin, they'd organised the building of a trandem, to be used as a promotional thing. Now, here's a photo from the Bill gig in Perth. That's me with Bill and the trandem, and Bill signed the photo down here. This was another thing you could buy at the gig, a signed photo with Bill. They did all that very efficiently. Now, you'll see, red trandem. It was a bugger to ride, let me tell you. So what would happen with the red trandem is, in each capital city, fans could enter the competition to be chosen. I think they had to write a little statement or two about why they should be picked. And in each capital city, you had 3 fans, and they would decide amongst themselves who would dress up as Bill, who would dress up as Tim, and who would dress up as Graham, and then sort of try and ride the trandem around in that capital city. Now, in our case, we had Channel 10 come out into the Hay Street Mall in Perth and film our 3 winners, who, of course, were the mighty Vanessa Pusey. And there was also Josh, and there was Heath. Heath dressed up as Graham, Josh was dressed as Bill, and Vanessa was dressed as Tim. And this was the day before the gig. and it got a little bit of press, which is nice. Now, my job was to make sure it rocked up on the night of the gig on 27th of June at the Astor Theatre at 5 p.m. To set up the trandem there so that people could, have their photo taken with it and Bill, etc., etc. Now, the trandem being the trandem, it was way too long for the back of my ute. And I'm sure it drew a few funny looks in traffic, but that's okay. It's a price that I was more than willing to pay. And of course, Jane helped out as well. But what we'll do now to finish the video off is give you a little bit of footage that, as I say, I sneakily recorded on my phone. Apologies, Justin. Apologies, Bill. And it's Bill talking about his very early music career.
Abbey Road. So that should have been a clue, really shouldn't it? Yeah. So I walk in and here's my producer. Hello, I'm George Martin. You've got that idea. Then he said, well, we've got some youngsters, young session musicians who are going to play on the demo. And I only realised, as I say, as I'm sure you can understand would be the case, just how significant this was many years later, because said, here's a keyboard player, this is Rick Wakeman. It is that sort of response, isn't it? You go, blimey. This is John Paul Jones on bass, and even better, that he gets it turned out in a way. He said, here's the drummer, who's very young and nice neat little suit and nice short hair. So this is Mitch Mitchell. Mitch Mitchell, if you don't know, and some obviously do, eventually, and not that long later either, became the drummer for Jimi Hendrix and the Jimi Hendrix Experience. And I blush to even think about it. But we were trying to play. I said, look, I've got the rhythm for this song. It's a bit like it's sort of Bo Diddley rhythm, I'm doing this, and they're all looking at me going, whatever. Rick was instantly into these things, but Mitch Mitchell was having trouble. So here I am. I said, no, that's not right. But do you mind if I just step back? So there I am, kicking Mitch Mitchell off the drum and trying to teach him to play this rhythm. I'm sure he told that story to Jimi Hendrix.
So yeah, I remember the whole time very, very fondly indeed. It was great, and Bill was fantastic. The opportunity to get involved was fantastic. It was something that brought together a lot of the Australian fans. And I just wanted to show you some of the stuff, tell you the story. And one day, hopefully, one of the goodies will return to Australia again. We just got to keep our fingers crossed. And if they do, I'll be buying a hell of a lot more goodies gear. Okay, that's it. Now, if you were at this tour, feel free to leave a comment on the video or get along to our Facebook page, Goodies Podcast, and or Twitter, Goodies Podcast as well. Easy peasy. Thanks for tuning in again. Take care, and we'll see you next time.